Hello, hello. Welcome to today's Future Proof Plays. It is of the game 80 Days by Inkle Studio, which are the makers of Heaven's Vault, which vaulted itself into being one of my favorite games of all time late last year. So, welcome. First, a technical note. I have a new stream layout sort of thing going on as of today. Let me know if there's anything wrong or weird about it. It's the first time streaming with it, so there's that. Second is I am one half of Future Proof Games, which is an indie studio that makes video games and tabletop role-playing games. Gregory everywhere in chat is the other half of the company. And so as I play 80 Days, I'll be chatting a little bit about work we're doing, although a lot of my work has been accounting lately. I can geek about that. Yeah, and then we'll play 80 Days. I think there's going to be a lot of reading, so I have, as usual for such good things, a pot of tea. So at some point there'll be a break to get more, quite possibly, depending on how long we go. I don't recall how long this game is. I didn't look it up. Silly me. So we'll play a couple hours, 2.5. We'll see how we feel at that point and where we're sitting. But well, let's rock and roll. All right. London, 1872. I have entered into the service of a new gentleman. It would seem he is a gambling man. My voice is quiet. All right, I'm gonna bump the gain a little bit and hope that that doesn't make me sound terrible. Hold on a second. What are you doing, voice meter? Okay. That's what, yeah, that's without reading loud. Reading aloud doubles the time it takes for anything. I do see that my mic is coming through quieter than it should be. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But let me know if it continues to be... All right, I'm gonna see if I can figure this out, because it is quite low. Hold on. Alright, that is still maybe a little too quiet. I'm going to bring the game audio down a little bit and This might just be where we're living today. I do not know what is going on. And I will try to project a little bit. So, the new gentleman is a gambling man. In association with Cape Guy. Directed by John Ingold, Joseph Humphrey. Oh, script by May Janth. I recognize Meg from Twitter. Oh, okay. We got a little bit of a world map here. Let's see. Cool. Okay. Well, shit. Now I gotta get back to London on a free spinning map. There we go. Okay. Cool. Okay. Monsieur Phileas Fogg returned home early from the Reform Club, and in a newfangled steam carriage besides. I helped him down, and the iron-lunged, steam-driven horses clattered away. Passepartout, said he. We're going... Oh, my name, I guess. We are going around the world. Oh, you've only played on the phone. Around the world, or very good. Around the world, monsieur? I asked, utterly astonished. We shall circumnavigate the globe within 80 days. He was quite calm as he proposed this wild scheme. We leave for Paris on the 8:25 in an hour. But I've not prepared, I said wretchedly, quickly trying to organize a list of items in my mind. Then do it now. Pack an altimeter in my evening jacket. There's not a moment to waste. Oh, I have funds, and I'm steadfast. I do have this on my phone, but I've never played it. I bought it years ago, and maybe cracked it open once, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this. So here we are. Let's see, there was just a moment to seize anything further I thought would be useful. A wax cylinder, inscribed with marks describing a recording of a symphony, an evening jacket, well-fitting, neatly tailored. Air sickness is psychological. An altimeter can be most reassuring. Part of the air traveler set. Part of the Englishman's wardrobe. He did say to bring the altimeter. A deck of playing cards of interest to humorous, stalwart, official, and soldier types. And a slender volume listing all the shipping routes within Europe. Oh, okay. Can I... Oh, am I not going to be able to fit everything? No. Oh, no. Okay, sorry. I thought I had gotten out of there in a way that I could not get back into. Okay. Deck of 52 playing cards, useful for dealing with ship people and routes for ships. Okay. Okay, I feel like this is the appropriate gear to bring. Damn them for making me leave something behind. Okay. New routes, alright. Fascinating. Okay. Is that because of what I packed? Alright, so we're going to Paris. Okay, the guard's van has space for one suitcase, which will suffice. And this promises to be a bearable travel option. Ah, this is lovely. The mechanical horses raced past Piccadilly Circus and Pall Mall faster than a team of thoroughbreds. Even so, the whistle of the 8:25 was blowing as we pulled up to Charing Cross station. I have no tickets, I exclaimed. We raced across the concourse and threw ourselves aboard. As the second whistle shrieked its warning, we barely had time to take our seats before the guard rapped smartly on the compartment door. He held out a hand. Tickets, please. Do I pretend to have lost them? Oh, the routes appear because I picked the shipping title. Okay, cool. Let's say, alas, monsieur, we are in a great hurry, I explained, giving him a beseeching look. We do not have time to buy tickets. You may purchase them from me, the guard was saying, though it is more expensive, I'm afraid. £85, please. I'm not a haggler. Let's hand over the £85. And smiled a thin smile from one working man to another. The guard gave me our tickets, slid the compartment door shut behind him with a pneumatic hiss. Your funds have gone down. All right, funds are up in the top. Converse. I see how this art style lends itself to being shrunk down to small screens, both like the degree of detail and just the smoothness of all the lines. It's not too intricate so that things get terribly squished or lost on a small screen. It's cool. All right, do we talk about the money or the journey? Let's talk about the journey. Tell me, monsieur, what is the purpose of our journey? I've made a hefty wager, and I do not intend to lose. All right. Well, goals. This journey will be most expensive, monsieur. Indeed, but we can earn a little from buying and selling our possessions as we travel. Good lord. All right. London's smog gave way to rolling hills and the pastures of the Kentish countryside, still untouched by the hand of technological advancement. Monsieur Fogg read his paper while I repacked our bags, thrown together in haste and confusion. As afternoon turned inexorably to evening, I discovered that my master was one of those gentlemen who broke their silence rarely, if at all. Imagine you're a new hire, and this happens on day 2 of your job or whatever. A guard rapped on our door. We are about to submerge, he warned. Takes some people a bit funny, so watch out. What do you mean, submerge? I cried. This is the London to Paris Amphitrite Express, he explained, as though to a particularly dim-witted child. The submersible train? Talk of all the London papers? Then this is the Mirror train. He made a face. Bloody journalists and their silly names, he muttered. Every inch of her has been examined and stamped with the artificer's seal. This is the world's only bathyscape locomotive. This is delightful. It's been a while since I've read Around the World, but I did not think it was particularly steampunk, or it didn't linger in my head as such. I pressed my face to the window glass as the fins above the Amphitrite's wheels extended with a hydraulic hiss. Night fell, and we plunged past the end of the track into the freezing water of the English Channel. The amphitrite plowed through the water overnight and splashed up onto wider gauge French tracks at Calais as dawn broke. Do you have a route in mind? I begin to consider what might be required. Do you have a route in mind, monsieur? I asked, as the water of the channel dried from the compartment windows. I am as yet undecided, my master admitted. The new canal has sped up the shipping route from Suez to Bombay, though perhaps we could take the Trans-Siberian Railway across Russia. Well, I want to go to the Russian one. But I don't hate Bombay. Well, let's say surely not Bombay. We shall certainly wilt in the scorching heat. Then we would do well to buy hats and linen trousers, he replied. There are other alternatives. We could also travel overland and across the Black and Caspian Seas. Which is fastest, which is safest? Let's go safest. Monsieur Fogg raised an eyebrow. There is no place in the world which is not safe for an Englishman, he said coolly and with great finality. Parbleu, I hardly knew what to think. We arrive at... I'm very concerned about Fogg's stance on the world. We arrived at Paris Gare du Nord just after 1 o'clock. Automaton porters lifted our luggage and then our persons onto the platform with long, delicately filigreed iron arms. Holy shit. I love it. Paris, city of my heart. I was home, but not to stay. So that has a little quotation mark on it, suggesting we can talk about it. I'm a little shocked at how different this is than Heaven's Vault. Oh. Okay, so time seems to matter. There's going to the bank or exploring advances time. Oh, you can get an extra suitcase. Time is moving very quickly. Let's see. Traveling cloak. Set of geometric drawing instruments, precisely made and beautifully presented. Valuable in Copenhagen, Warsaw, and Budapest. And some wine, valuable in Berlin. Okay. I wonder if I have to keep the shipping timetable to keep those routes. Or now that I have them, I have them. I could sell the jacket. I'm not hurting for money, technically, as far as I can tell. Oh. Okay, my options flip. Same text conversation. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. There are some things about the way conversation worked in Heaven's Vault that were frustrating and seemed like maybe limited by the engine at hand, but I didn't have anything else to compare it to. So it'll be like the fact that conversation is moving here very deliberately, and I can, like, there's none of the timing out or moving past a conversation without my getting to make a choice that happens in Heaven's Vault. I'm curious how small the core engine is and how much gets added on for each game. Okay, now I goofed around and... shit. I was expecting it to charge me money. Whoops. And then I would get a prompt. Well, we took a hotel for the night. We will be comfortable here, Monsieur Fogg remarked, but traveling overnight will often be more efficient. Okay, so we must board the longest journeys available or where possible. Okay. Perhaps, he replied, the short answer indicating, I think, that one-day journeys might often be more flexible in their timing and could allow for more connections. Still, the sounds of the Hotel Ritz were most enjoyable. That is a good question. There's a text speed and a scroll, but not a clock setting. Hey, there's a seed for this playthrough. Very cool. So, that's a very good point about the time. I guess it is what it is. And this won't be, a speed run or whatever. This interface is a little... Okay. So, I think I'm gonna get an extra suitcase. And... take this wine. So is my goal to get around the world as quickly as possible, or is it to visit as many places? Because I think it's to get around the world as quickly as possible, but there are, it's like you visited 1 out of 169 cities. We must visit the bank, Monsieur Fogg declared. You have additional funds? A robbery, Monsieur? Certainly not, he replied firmly. But do you suppose I put my entire fortune in a carpet bag under your supervision? I did not answer. I regarded a race to go as quick as possible. Okay. The bank, as we entered, was a place of stone and shimmering marble floors with beautiful windows, fountains, and plants. You wish to withdraw funds? I warn you, it may take some time. Ah. Okay. No. I informed the manager. We swept out of the bank. Thankfully, our situation is not desperate. Onwards. So that is a cost, a trade-off in terms of, like, I'm willing to stay overnight in order to get extra funds, which I don't think I need. So, do I need to explore? I don't know. Let's do it. Exploring gives me new routes. We had a few hours to spare. I asked Monsieur Fogg if I might enjoy my city before we had to leave. Indeed, and should you learn anything of note, be sure to relay it. I nodded, headed into town. The talk on the streets was of one thing only, an enormous, elegant oval stadium, constructed upon the green fields of Champ de Mars, and containing the technological marvels, art, amusement parks, and milling crowds of the World's Fair of 1872. My city still wore the scars of last year's siege. I ventured inside. Ooh, I got an achievement. An artificer was replacing an arc light. I went west towards the airship hangar, past a booth with a husband and wife pair selling panoramic hot air balloon rides to eager tourists. The hangar was crowded with airships. And flying vehicles of all shapes and sizes, attended by sharp-eyed crews from all over the world. And my eye was immediately caught by the African-made rigid metal balloon, the gilded Egyptian Ifrit class, the metal-clad four-propeller Savarkar Atmotic, the bulky coal gas-powered Ottoman Gaic, the twin-bladed Peruvian gyrocopter. Ooh, I like an Ifrit class. Painted all over with stylized poppies and feathers, it resembled nothing more than a vast flying sarcophagus. Do people really fly in such things? I asked an exhibitor. Indeed, hundreds of them do, and every day, he replied with a booming laugh. They say the skies of Arabia are crisscrossed with the trails of Egyptian ships. Perhaps one day soon, Monsieur Fogg and I would find ourselves flying in such a craft. I returned to the exposition center, my thoughts turning with clouds and engine rotors. Avenues spawned in every direction between the inviting illuminated pavilions of the exposition. Let's watch the Artificer. Artificer was replacing an arc light which had burned out. She first disconnected the strange machine powering the lights. It had a spinning iron wheel which was wound around with a series of armature coils. What is that device, Artificer? I asked politely, my eye straying to the copper lily pin which proclaimed her profession. It's a bleeding nuisance is what it is, the Artificer grumbled in a thick Yorkshire accent. These Graham machines are finicky beasts. Graham machines? I inquired. Well, it's a... Oh, never mind, she waved my question away. It's a steam engine, all right, only it doesn't make steam. Will that do? I hate explaining this stuff to laymen. I retreated hastily, not at all in terror. The harshness of her tone was belied by her gentle touch, presumably on the machine. Yes, as she unscrewed the arc light's globe of enameled glass and replaced the 2 carbon rods within. She reconnected the supply, and 10 Yablokov candles connected in series lit up once more. Will all streets be lit with electricity soon? I asked. There are already a fair passel of cities lit by electricity rather than gaslight, she retorted. London will probably be last, given old Queen Vicky's prejudice against the Artificers Guild. The Queen is against you? She's just cautious, that's all, the Artificer replied, pocketing her screwdriver once more. Knows real power when she sees it, though. That's what I'd say. She looks at her pocket watch, cursed and hurried off, dropping something as she went. I hurried after her to return it. She thanked me. My medallion. I'll need that to get my lunch from the canteen. Thank you. There are absolutely romance options in the game? Well, I bowed in return, and she giggled. Stop that. You'll make me blush. She rubbed the coin thoughtfully. I was given this for my work in Istanbul, you know. I made a very special automaton. I think it works as a driver now, on the route up from Izmir. I think that's right. An automaton who can drive? Of course. Is that so strange? I could only shrug. Who knows what is normal in this modern world? I looked about once more. Crowds of tourists jostled and heaved past, their eyes wide with wonder. I headed towards the red and purple tents of the Artificers Guild, Avenue of Nations. Let's go see the Artificers Guild. It's draped with banners emblazoned with their copper lily sigil. A steam-powered automaton orchestra played gleaming brass instruments. It had the most incredible display of machines, as though a scrapyard had been brought to playful life. One of the artificers was explaining the guild's credo to a group of sticky-fingered children, or had his hands deep inside a human-shaped automaton. Had his hands deep. Rummaging through its clockwork innards, he took out a piece of engraved glass and peered at it through a jeweler's loupe. Dashed thing, he cursed in upper class English tones, and then looked up. Oh, hello. I didn't mean to interrupt. What are you doing? What is that? It's the control glass of my automaton, or would be if it worked. This one is meant to be a cook, but can't even fry a chip. How does the glass work? He looked pained for a moment. It's complicated, he replied. Light scatters and bends and... Never mind. In this case, it doesn't work. I need a Persian engraver. Best work is done in Tehran, you know. I stared at the inanimate automaton. I'd seen them before, of course, but never so still and never up close. They were perfect, and yet, on the outside at least. So simple, so smooth, their faces without detail or distinction. You look a little scared, the artificer remarked. Is it alive? No, it's just a machine shaped like a person, for doing person things. I wished him well. The artificer smiled. I wished him well in his culinary endeavors. He was, at least, in the right city to find a cook, and returned to the center of the exposition, ears ringing with the bombastic tunes of the steam orchestra. My feet were tiring, and the hour was growing late. I returned to Monsieur Fogg, who was eating a meal of plain boiled beef à l'anglaise. Did you enjoy the exposition? My master inquired diffidently, as though I'd been visiting with a great aunt, having preferred a hearty meal in an English newspaper. And I nodded. Nothing else could possibly impress me. Will we travel by airship, do you suppose? I think it highly likely, he replied. Those are expensive, but extremely fast. I dreamt that night of mechanical wonders and automatons with beautifully enameled faces, knowing little of the strange inventions and stranger people I would soon encounter in my journey around the world. My relationship deteriorated. Well, that's not good. Okay, so let's go somewhere else. So that wine is sellable in Berlin. And I did buy it. Right? So the next departure, I don't know how to back out of things. Okay. How do I... Oh, it departs tomorrow. I thought the arrival was... Okay, so am I stuck here for another night if I want to get to Berlin? Yes, I think I am. Okay. It is... I feel very awkward trying to get back to the screen where I can see the market and stuff like that. I don't understand. I guess I have to go to current location. Okay. Do I have to stay at a... Sure. Let's just make the clock move. With what remained of the day, I spent a few hours walking around and succeeded only in having my pockets picked, damn, to the tune of 20 pounds. Well. Okay. Aha. Okay. Let's hire a second car. Fuck it. I mean, if I don't do well, that's fine. I don't need to do great at this. This is clearly a game I can play over and over again. We found a member of the Coachmakers Guild to carry us to Amsterdam. She loaded the cases onto the back, stoked the boiler, and took off at high speed along the coastal road, swerving around each corner with considerable skill and, I think, a touch of showmanship. I clung on tight. This would be a terrific ride. I'm zestful. Converse. Greetings, driver. I cannot drive well if you are talking to me. The canals, I'm sure you know all about Amsterdam. The canals of Amsterdam are no longer lined with gold. Okay. Talk about Berlin. Is it possible to go from Amsterdam to Berlin? Indeed, Berlin can be reached from Amsterdam by private car, but the journey is a tiring one. Okay. I've never heard of Tsaritsyn. I'm guessing it's in Russia or some Russian adjacent place. No idea, but I know the quickest way there's from here to go via Minsk. Okay. Ah, so this is how I can discover routes. Okay. Once or twice, the metal-rimmed wheels lifted the chassis clear from the road on one side, only to bump down after a chuff and puff more of the engine. We were jolted around like so much poultry. We must have topped 40, perhaps even 50 miles an hour. A fabulous way to travel. The Polish inventor Bozek, who had first attached a perfectly decent locomotive engine underneath a flimsy wooden crate, was clearly a genius. Such cars are growing in popularity, my good friends, if I were not destined to be a valet until the day I have gray hairs in my ears. I would become a car driver and gad the rich and famous around the mountains of the south of France every day between the hours of 2 and 6. Does such a role exist? Perhaps I will invent it, if not. Toot toot. As we rattled along, I spoke to our driver about what lay ahead and learned that you could obtain carnival masks in Venice that will sell for a fortune in Antalya. Character is now courageous. You're quite the flamboyant type, I see. All right. European carriages list. Routes for carriages in Europe. I like that idea. A lost sketch by Rembrandt. Am I going to Munich? Sells for a lot of money. But if I keep zigzagging around, I'm never going to get the fuck out of Germany. Okay. Pretty cool. Good grief. Okay. So I cannot travel that today. It will take 2 luggage, but it is an unpleasant ride. Okay. Sure. Pass the night. Though the people of Amsterdam move about its canal-side streets with a sense of optimism and good cheer, our own mission left little time for exchanging pleasantries. I found a street peddler who greeted me with a cheerful smile beneath a caterpillar-like mustache. We're going around the world. What's the cheapest way out of the city? What's the fastest way on from here? Car, I suppose. The roads look good. Canals used to be better, but now they seem almost out of date. It's a curse to be rich in the past. By the time the future rolls around, you're poor again. I find the rich mostly stay rich. He shrugged, and I began to wonder whether that truism would apply to my master after our journey was done. The peddler reached into his pocket. Buy an apple? £1. I bought it and took it with a smile. We're going around the world. We're going around the world, I declared. Aha, he replied. You are like the influenza. What's the cheapest way out of the city? He mused. Most likely the hydrofoil heading north to Norway. It is fine enough if you don't mind being jolted about, and it's not exactly going around the world unless you don't mind which way. Is Norway worth visiting? He shrugged, made a vague gesture. I hear the Norwegians are moving underground. Who knows? They have strange ways over there. Hello, calmly enveloped. How are you doing? There was, of course, the route following the canal south, in particular the route towards the Rhine, although I feared that to end up in Munich after nearly a week of travel would hardly please my hard-working master. So many choices. All that remained was to choose how to best depart. My funds have gone down by £1 because I bought an apple. I am doing... Oh, hold on. Okay, this will be a bothersome route, but the Englishman wardrobe should be of some assistance. Okay. I'm doing all right. Having a sleepy day. I haven't had any caffeine, so doing a lot of reading while sluggish. But yeah, life is generally all right. Let's see, our next leg was another short trip in a car. I bounded in, eager to get started. We hired the same driver as before. You too, she exclaimed. Get in. Let's see what this fog option is. And oh, okay, so I groomed him, valeted, and that improved my health. As we departed Amsterdam for Berlin, I begged Monsieur Fogg to allow me a turn at the wheel. He looked to our driver, who smiled and happily moved to one side. The wheel beneath my hands was nothing like I have experienced before. Ooh, almost an electrical sensation, as though thunderstorms rippled into the wood itself, inside the wood itself. The mechanism of the car was quickly grasped. The first lever produced forward movement. The sideways levers controlled our gearing and hence the rate of power. The wheel, of course, was to be turned rapidly at all times to release steam into the pistons. What? We made good time, though at the end of the day my palms were scorched and red hot. Now I know why drivers wear gloves. So your health is exclusively tied to your massive health. Trying to... I am trying to keep this motherfucker alive. My hard-working master, as I said. What is your wish, master? Let's talk about the journey. How's our journey? 5 days, I believe. Early days. Let's talk about money. We're quite comfortable. I wonder if this is going to be one of those people that says they're doing great until they're broke as fuck. We made good progress in the car. Toot, my friends, toot. Finally, we came upon sight of tiled roofs, the harbor, and the smell of herring. We'd arrived in Berlin. Relations with Fogg have improved. Probably because I combed his mustache. Okay. Just planning here. Not the Macedon client, right? Huh. Okay. So, could go... Got options. A route to Warsaw. Well, I've got a long one. There might be a way to get it here. Ah, shit. Time kept progressing. Okay. Oh, it's fine. It's overnight. Okay. Yeah, so maybe there's something in the market that will get me that. Routes for carriages. And those are shipping rights. Oh, they want me to find a hotel. Alright. Been told it'll be a rotten night. We stayed for the night at the Hotel Adlon on Unter den Linden, the main boulevard in the central Mitte district. From the window, the Brandenburg Gate was lit by upturned gas lamps. I got robbed last time I went for a late night stroll. I gotta retire early, as the journey so far had been exhausting and wearing to the spirits. Okay. Come on, market. A railway whistle. Oh, I have apples. That's adorable. A gear. A gear size teeth ratio long since unfavored by engineers and hence now extremely valuable. Caribbean timetable. Shit. Oh, so I need to sell this. That gives me space. I feel like I want that Caribbean timetable, but it does not give me a Warsaw path that's shorter. Okay. Seems like you've made an excellent trade. $1872. Okay. Why, hello, other doc. So, the only way to get to Warsaw is to go around with my current knowledge. I think this departure could be altered. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I'll pay extra money. Uncomfortable conditions. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you stream. Been up to much. Have I been up to much? So I'm in a new mini campaign since Other Doc is here. Hello, Other Doc. Playing in a paranormal spy thriller role-playing game that uses Rosette Diceless on Other Doc's channel. We had our first session last Wednesday, and we'll be playing at least 2 more sessions. It is very good, very fun. Set in 1975. So got a real 70s feel to it. So that has been delightful to prepare for. So let's see, we crossed from Berlin to Munich in a patched up steam carriage. The smoke pumped out the back through a tall iron chimney, leaving a soot-smudged wake which trailed behind us like a flag. So Greg, I guess the way I could have gathered information was to use the plan, or not the plan, the discover or wander around or whatever. That would have cost more time, but it probably would have saved time. Our driver Christoph could not stop talking of his father, who was an engine driver who had just been promoted. The Kaiser has merged all the state railways into the Reich Railway, he told us proudly. We have the most efficient system in all of Europe. What of the Orient Express? I asked. He grinned. The parts near Germany work well. The rest of the line will no doubt be excellent once it's finished. Relations with Fog have strengthened slightly. Other Doc does amazing streams and amazing games, and I have role-played with him for many, many, many years in Meat Space, and some virtually. Always runs a good show, so I'm honored to be in Top of the World, which is the current one. I'm gonna let Fog be okay at 96 health. Let's converse some more. Greetings, Christoph. Don't worry, you won't distract me from the road. Aha, okay. Let's talk about Munich to Vienna. You mentioned we have a timetable from routes from Munich to Vienna. You mentioned cars. I've been told one can travel in the car fleet from Winnipeg to Ivujivik. Okay. Let's talk Vienna to Prague. Probably, but some buyers will pay well for geometric equipment from Prague. Now tell me, do you like trains? Indeed I do. They are comfortable. So do I. I do not mind driving, but a train would be better. I have no idea where this is. What country is that location in? Okay. You know what? I'll just take these routes. Like, I don't even have to particularly care, right? Is there a route between these two places with complicated names? I wish I knew. There's neither hotel, bank, nor market. Wow. What about Quebec City? Wow, okay. Use the apples. For one thing, I want the inventory space back. And two, have an apple. Let's see. Let's ask about Prague. The clock in the town square is a piece of junk. Well, that's rude. Let's ask about Bucharest. Probably, but merchants in Astrakhan will pay a huge amount for candles scented of rose from Bucharest. Okay. Is it possible to travel from Prague to Urga? I don't know, but the fastest way to Urga from here is via Warsaw. Okay. One man passing called out, "You're English?" French, I cried back. The man's expression turned from cheer into anger, and he began shaking his fist and throwing clods of mud in our direction. The Franco-Prussian War, Christoph said gently. Many of these people lost a great deal. I paled, sunk low in my seat. I sat up straighter. If I am to be despised, I will look like someone worth despising. Wow. Not quite what I was going for, but okay. Aha! A train timetable. Do you think that dude ate an apple and then sold it? Sold the rest of them? Okay, well, I don't have room. Warsaw. Keeping that. Well, fuck nuggets. Alright. This is... Okay, so I can see notes of things people have said. Alright. If I want to get to Warsaw, my options are terrible. Departs in 3 days? Ah, I did a bad. Okay. Can this be negotiated? Englishman's wardrobe should yield results. No charge? Let's do it. Okay. I feel like I might not be playing this game correctly, but that's okay. As expected, my accent was a problem in Munich, to the point where even our mild-mannered concierge went so far as to spill a mug of coffee into my lap. Oh shit. Took the man to task, endured the insult with dignity, made sure to spill a glass of Merlot on his shirt. Endured the insult with dignity. Later, Monsieur Fogg congratulated me on my forbearance, declaring simply, "Good show." Yeah, expected to stumble around the first time, and thinking, like, again, comparing to Heaven's Vault, where, Inkle is like, yeah, your first run is definitely not your real first run because you don't know any of the language, which just doesn't make sense for an archaeologist to be like, what's the word for holy in this religion based, heavily religious culture at various points. So I that's fine. This doesn't feel like, even if this like fails and I run out of money and I'm still in Russia, it feels fine. Like, it feels like I'd have no heartburn about starting again. Alright. Going to Vienna. For inexplicable reasons, there was no way to board the Orient Express at Munich. Something strange to do with customs laws, though. I understand it was actually retribution. I understand it was actually retribution for unpaid fees. It seemed the Express charged countries for the privilege of being connected, rather than the other way around. We ended up cramming ourselves into a steam-powered car instead, chuffing along. Let us converse. Let's see, let's clarify any Vienna-Warsaw situations. You mentioned trains. I've been told you can get to Ekaterinburg from Astrakhan aboard the freight train. Let's say Warsaw to Helsinki. You mentioned boats. I've been told one can sail by hydrofoil. The fare is well beyond most travelers. Helsinki to... Part of it is I don't know where these cities are on the map, so I'm not, like, really tracing a path anywhere as I'm asking those questions. But... does kind of seem like... So part of it seems to me like if I cut sort of this south, take the Suez path, there's a lot of long, maybe smooth sailing. If I keep going across land, I'm going to be city after city after city, dab, 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 lots of scheduling. And maybe that's just the more interesting play. It was a pleasant enough ride, and our driver, one Mikhail Hertz, regaled us with stories of his time on the Indian subcontinent. It seemed he had been employed to haul palanquins along the Grand Trunk Road connecting Kabul and Agra. Before Agra wandered away, he finished cryptically. I demanded to know what he meant, but he merely grinned mysteriously and said, "Ah, the tales I could tell." As we arrived, the driver put out his hand to shake. I'll be driving on to Budapest soon if you want. Ah, if I can get onto the Orient Express. Okay. Ah, no departures. We should explore. Okay. Whoa. Dusty road set, engineer set, music box. Okay. Let's explore before the day is completely over. I did not see a single flesh and blood soldier in Vienna, the city of music. My dear friends, the rumors are quite real. The Austro-Hungarian Empire's might is built upon its armies of mechanical men. Huh. Their pewter faces are homogeneously handsome, though some have fine horsehair mustaches attached to their upper lips and subtle variation in the flecks of their eyes. As I watched, I was approached by a bookish fellow who hurried out from under the impressive eagle-arched portcullis of the Zughaus, the imperial armory. You think them fantastical? He demanded, a curious turn to his voice. I've seen automata before, I replied, casually enough, even if the ones I'd seen at the fair did not know how to cook. Not like these, the man replied. He stuck out his hand. Herr Danzer, apprentice engineer in the Imperial Kriegsorchester. I apologize. We went to a cafe to talk. And once he started, he would not stop. Have you noticed none of the mechanical soldiers carry weapons? He hissed. What do you make of that? It's most unusual, I agreed. Inside each one is a Mozart Haydn device. Perfectly tuned, Herr Danzer replied. The song the soldiers sing is one of devastation. A battalion in harmony can punch through a steel wall. He drew a gilded flute from his scabbard and laid it on the table, looking at it thoughtfully. That flute is how you control them? I hazarded. He nodded sadly. Yes. We, the Musikersoldaten, control them with our instruments. I am the finest flautist in the Vienna Kriegsorchester. He began, to my horror, to weep. I stole the flute. I patted his hand to comfort him, and he gazed at me inconsolably. As a boy, I dreamed of joining the Artificers' Guild, he confessed, voiced hushed. But for someone born in this country, it's impossible. The Kaiser and the Guild are sworn enemies. The Guild, I reminded him, are politically neutral. I pitied his circumstances, his self-pity. Wow. I'll take this bullshit line that the Guild is politically neutral. He shook his head. The Guild are forbidden within the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Our automata are not Guild approved. They are our own. His mouth was a cold line. The Guild would not countenance building such monsters. Thanking him for the coffee, I strolled back along the avenues, watching the city pass by with new eyes. Under its gilded and manicured beauty lurked something sharper and more bloodthirsty. Vienna was at once the city of music and the city of war. Okay. My plan is Warsaw tomorrow. The idea of political neutrality in this of any sort of multinational guild. We found a room in the newly opened Hotel Imperial in a suite built for Duke Philip of, maidservant. The setting was comfortable, so I retired early. There's a delightful chamber group playing in the lobby. So once Monsieur Fogg was seen to, I took myself downstairs, settled down with a cognac, and enjoyed the gentle music. After an hour or so, a group of men in fine dress came in and began making an unconscionable noise at the bar. I could no longer hear the music. I asked them to be quiet, listened in on their banter. That's because I took years of French in school. I'm not good at French. but I can muddle through it with a lot more confidence than I can anything German. It's a lot of compounding, and I don't know which vowels do what differently. Yeah. I listened in on their banter, I could hardly help it, and learned a most interesting thing. It seemed these men were local counselors who had been supervising a large movement of troops towards the train station, destined for Belgrade, and then Istanbul. It had departed a few days earlier, and was now all but ready for war. My heart sank. Either these gentlemen were celebrating death or destruction, or we had missed a possible trip. It's sad these gentlemen are celebrating death and destruction and toasting to the upcoming erasing of the Ottoman Empire. I returned to Fog, doubly determined to escape this beautiful, cruel city as soon as we could. The problem is they're too soft-spoken. German has to be shouted with harsh angles. I just lack the confidence to do so. Alright. We're taking a train. Oh. Wait. If there's room for 3 bags, do I want to grab some stuff? Yes, let's get a 3rd suitcase and take some engineering things. I don't know that I'm going to Antalya, in part because I don't know where Antalya is. Yes, train leaves at 12. Okay. Let's go. This looks like a bearable option, they say. It was not the Orient Express that took us northeast from Vienna towards Warsaw. That train traveled to exotic locations. We were destined for the gloomy cold of the north and to the paws of the bear of Russia. I fell into conversation with a Russian gentleman who, as he told me at great length, was making the long journey back to Vladivostok via Moscow in the Trans-Siberian Express. I asked about the Trans-Siberian, and his ruddy face lit up. Now there's a train, he enthused, warming to the subject. It's capable of lifting off and levitating at higher speeds. The Tsar keeps it slow on purpose because he does not quite trust it. The train juddered. I asked him about Moscow, and he shrugged. A nice enough city to pass through, but not one to stay in. Too easy to offend the Tsar and his loyalists there. He bid me farewell. Greetings, Monsieur Krasotkin. Good evening, man of France. Let's talk about Budapest. You mentioned carriages. I've been told you can get to Lahore from Kieta by hired palanquin, but the fare is well beyond most travelers. Let me pause there, catch up on chat, because time progresses. German sounds smashing as many distinct sounding syllables together as you can get away with. Yeah, the person I'm looking after is definitely very rich. Okay. The route from Budapest to Athens is timetabled. I've heard Allahabad can be reached from Bombay aboard the Great Indian Peninsula Railway. Do I know where I can get on to the Orient Express? Let's see. I've been told I knew a man who had quite the adventure aboard the Camertage from Herat to Kabul. Yes, I am playing as Passepartout. Alexandria is being rebuilt stone by stone. That's a lot of routes. Merchants, okay. One can sail by hydrofoil. That's expensive. I made a very special automaton. Okay. Where do I want to go? So I could do the Trans-Siberian. I don't think I know. Yeah, I think I will hit the Trans-Siberian. It's just like very cool. The train itself was comfortable enough and fast. We arrived in Warsaw before nightfall. I can get into Russia. Probably. Alright, what was it that was going to sell well? Here. Okay. Oh. There's a Russian gentleman's wardrobe set. I'm not planning on sticking around in Western Europe anymore. Oh, wait, how much was that fur coat? Okay, 62. Oh, it's big. Okay. So I think I will do some exploring and see if I can figure out how to get to Minsk. Because it would be, presumably, although I feel like there might be mountains there. There's no indication of terrain. I think I should be able to cross there. I think so. I think the mountains are there, but they'll tell us, right? We walked the streets of Warsaw, feeling the air of a different continent all around. In less than 2 generations, the Tsars had made this little outpost all their own. But there are signs of dissent on every corner, for on every building project in the city, there were glued pamphlets declaring the Russians to be dogs, fiends, and Philistines. I doubt that rhymes in Polish. We walked further, however, and saw no disturbances. It seems all the revolutionary types have been rounded up and shot. In fact, our hostelier told us later that the pamphlets themselves are produced by machines, buried by the rebels during the Troubles. Huh. No one has yet found them to switch them off. Well, that's harrowing. There we go. Alright. Going out in the day, I encountered an incredible creature, as tall as a house with wide, swinging metal arms, like a rampaging giant. I stared, gawping as the terrible machine stomped from foot to foot, slowly rotating, and then I saw that in its chest was a man, using levers and switches to operate the colossal device. It was a gigantic walking exoskeleton, aka a mecha. I waved to him, and he looked down and tipped his cloth hat. Are you safe up there? That's a sweet thing to ask. Absolutely, he called back. You're more at risk down there. What is this thing? I continued. It's a Kodunki, he said, from Novorossiysk. They've shipped a few in to help us with the building work. He pulled a lever, and the machine drew back a massive arm. Not gonna try and muddle through that one again. It's a small town on the far side of the Black Sea, he replied. I don't know why they have a surplus of these things there. The drawn-back arm smashed into a wall, and the building fell into a cloud of dust. I jumped back. "Excuse me," my friend called, "but I must get back to work." What an incredible sight. Oh no, they only have room for 2 bags. What's the cost for an extra one? Oh, just 11 pounds. Cold weather. This will be a bothersome experience, but the fur coat should make our master more comfortable. We clambered aboard the train. Monsieur Fogg settled in a far corner like a dusty old uncle, and I went to sit next to him, ready to attend to his wishes. He had none, of course, but to be left alone with his thoughts, whatever they were. So we rode in silence, a comfortable silence, nonetheless. "Greetings, mademoiselle. Good evening." Let's talk about... Well, let's talk about Moscow. The Tsar has formed his own secret police, I hear. I've learned you can reach Ekaterinburg from Moscow. I've heard my childhood sweetheart was stranded in Karmskaya just before the Trans-Manchurian Express to Pyongyang went missing. Went missing? Huh. Huh. Do they mean a train or a train line? Because either one of those is concerning. Let's talk about... Let's see, here you can pick up handheld mirrors in Pyongyang. They sell extremely valuable in San Pedro. What about Beijing? No idea. But now, they say Empress Sixi prefers her automatons to be decorative. You know, I might have misinterpreted that, because that is a ridiculous thing to say. I might have... If someone said that, I might have took it to be way more metaphorical than I now think is the case. We arrived at Minsk at nightfall and watched as people hurried from the train into the dark and cold streets. Monsieur Fogg held his teacup close, and I huddled beneath a blanket. At least for tonight, we were safe. Let me rub on Fogg's mustache. I am at your service, Monsieur Fogg. Let's talk about health. How are you feeling? I am in roaring health, but we must make haste. What have you learned about Moscow? I prefer the Kremlin to St. Basil's onion domes. You're wrong. Did you discover anything in the paper about Ekaterinburg? My uncle worked there just before the Trans-Siberian Express to Omsk suffered a fire. Morning came, and we were still crossing the Russian countryside, the train moving on its slow and steady way. I spent the time talking to other passengers, hoping to find options for our next leg. I met a charming Muscovite artist and had a pleasant, if unproductive conversation that whiled the hours away. Finally, we pulled into the stone edifice that was the Moscow station and disembarked. Ah, okay. See? Okay, I'll work on that. Oh. I guess... Should we sell this? Huh. I don't know about that. False passport. A forged Englishman's passport in the name of Jack Passenger. Rest and recuperation. Gentlemen travelers. Okay, so there's nothing here that's like sells for $1 gazillion somewhere else. I really would someone be willing to look up if I can get rid of these timetables and not like lose those routes? Because I could get so much space back in my setup, if possible. Okay, I lose the routes. Oh, you're right, I am out of Europe. Okay. So I could drop 3,700. Just go all the fuck the way across. Okay. The fur coat. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Alright, well, we're doing that. Moscow was not a comfortable city for a Frenchman. A local composer had just written a piece people were calling the 1812 Overture, commemorating the Russian victory over Napoleon's invading Grande Armée in that fateful year. Patriotic passions were at a fever pitch. So I stayed. You know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. Fuck nationalism. From exploring the city, even though I resolved to remain mute and unobjectionable should I encounter anyone. I traversed the city on foot, keeping out of sight of the patrols of uniformed policemen and Cossack troops mounted on black mechanical steeds. I ventured away from the wide boulevards and the electric architecture of Tverskaya Street towards the outdoor markets. Staraya Square. They were full of apple-cheeked young boys and wrapped-up peasant women. I found myself drawn to one particular stall. Ooh, selling ceramics, gazelle ceramics, painted a distinctive blue and white. I had purchased a plate for a guinea, which I'm gonna hope is just £1, and made sure that it was well wrapped for tucking it away. As the bells of the nearby church chimed the hour, I returned to our hotel, content with my brief view of the Tsar's capital city. Okay. How soon do I need to leave? 11. Okay. Because I want to play a little bit of an inventory game. Let's get rid of these. Oh, well, shit. Now I have a 4th bag. Okay. Let's do this false... I feel like this rest and recuperation business is going to become very real. Can I just... Cool. Cool. Okay. Let's... Our completed set, restoration set, should help protect us. I like that. Let's embark. Oh. Okay. Did I do it? Okay. So, Siberian weather. Fur coat will help us. We're still going to take a penalty. The math doesn't add up perfectly. I have 195 pounds, which is not a lot of pounds. The bell in the stuccoed and whitewashed Moscow station gave its third and final clang, and the platform erupted into frenzy. We boarded calmly and found ourselves in a small cabin with heated water and even a shaving mirror. 1 second. Oh. I have a cat I'm going to let be up here for about 45 seconds. Which one she'll put her face in my tea and I will kick her out of my office. But she could use a hug. My character is now superior. hope you're not spending too much. That money has to last all the way around. Look, my friend. Just relax. Greetings, Monsieur Degustin. Let us share a glass of wine together. Let's talk about Vladivostok, which is our final location here. There are rumors of war with Japan. Where will I want to go? I want to go to Japan. I'm gonna guess that that is Japan. It's linked by Korean trader, but it's slow going. And then Honolulu. You'll have to ask my secretary, but you can pick up revolvers in Honolulu. Extremely valuable in New Orleans. She goes putting her face in my tea. Stop it. We were away. I remembered the advice from the man on the train to Warsaw. It's affixed to the window. Familiarize myself with the train. Remember the advice that the Trans-Siberian was capable of higher speeds than it was admitted, and determined to find my way to the engine car to talk to the driver. A wager? No, thank you. I'll pay £30, which he accepted, though when I began to discuss the train's speed, he slipped away, thanking me for the tip. Huh. Okay. My bed that night swayed along with the motion of the train. From Moscow to Karimskaya was a journey of over 5,000 miles, and we had only just begun. We can earn a little spending money through spending of our possessions. Whoops, I did not mean to. Come on. Our fellow passengers. Oh yes, I'm definitely gonna have to sell some shit. Holy hell. Yeah, I have so little money. Our fellow passengers were a mix of convicts, political radicals, prospectors, businessmen, and military officers. In the midst of this was a young lady, Rosa, modishly dressed, in a rich military-style jacket and fur toque. I made her acquaintance. I'm going to be following people around discreetly. She was desperate for I made her acquaintance only too easily. She was desperate for a sympathetic ear and told me her great secret. She had fallen in love with a peasant boy in 4th class called Zhek, by which I understood that they had shared a glance of extreme passion in the baggage car. To be so young again. I resolved to keep an eye on their burgeoning locomotive romance. We crossed the Volga in the early afternoon, crawling slowly over a bridge perched on high stone pillars. The devout Russians stood and crossed themselves while looking out over the water. I could just hear the lilting, rhythmic oar-beating songs of the Volga boatmen over the whistle of the steamboats. I had no idea you were so exceptionally talented. Okay. I'm gonna pause for a second. Take this adorable little beast outside my office and kick her out. So, BRB. Alright, I'm back. Jackie will have to get her cuddles later. Okay, we crossed the Urals today. At the risk of sounding like a jaded traveler, I must admit they are hardly magnificent. A heaving up of earth and forested hills for a few hundred miles. We stopped for an hour in Ekaterinburg, where I... spotted the young lady, joined the lively cavalry officer. Oh, persuaded Monsieur Fogg to jump off. We did so in a hurry, then set about investigating this town where we had fetched up. Oh, I think your jokes were fine. We should explore a little. We should make some fucking money is what we should do. Straight and queer romance options. Do I still need the Englishman set? Top hat. I don't know when I'm next going to be on a car, but... Fur-lined boots. I feel like there's nothing I want to get rid of yet. Okay. Oh, I should have requested money. And theoretically it would have arrived tomorrow. Katerinburg was a grand city of the north, a hive of industrial activity. Freight trains and wagons rolled in and out at all hours, carrying all manner of steam this and electro loop that, heading east and west along Russia's Great Back. Given the city's size, I could not believe the Trans-Siberian was the only connection. So I determined to find something else to offer my master as an alternative. I don't want an alternative. Hold on. Back up. I began my search at a nearby waterfront, but it turned out that despite a number of small lakes, there's little in the way of ferry transport. Next, I tried an open area to the southeast, which I reasoned might be an airfield, and it was, but a military one. Can you give me one good reason why I should allow you to fly with us? What an impertinent line of questioning. We're going around the world, I declared. They were not sympathetic. I was marched out of the field at gunpoint. By now it was growing late, so I returned to Monsieur Fogg. My master had passed the hours sipping a single cup of tea, which, it was clear from the look on his face, he had not enjoyed. I shouldn't need to do anything, right? I've paid up. Everything's fine. There's nothing else I want to sell, unfortunately. Okay. I'm nervous that they're not going to let me get back on this train without paying more money. Which I do not have, because they already took the money. I hope I didn't... we'll see. If I fucked it up, I fucked it up. As night fell, I attended to Monsieur Fogg. Relations have improved. Okay, whew. Wait. I did mess it up. What? Shit. Did I really, like, lose this whole path and not get my money back? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Greg. Let's see if this bank Can offer us a good return for our time. This time I'm going to regard the manager. A well-dressed, calm lady who greeted us with eager enthusiasm. You wish to make a withdrawal? You may have to wait a day or two. Okay. So this is 700, 1,500, 4,000, which is less than I was getting in Western Europe. Okay. I'm going to pause while Greg is researching. I like this game. I like this game a lot. I think for future plays of it, I probably will go ahead and play it on my phone. This is the kind of game I would like curl up in bed and play, rather than playing at my computer. Or I'd play it on my Surface. But so while Greg is looking that up, I'm curious if since I got rid of those shipping tables, various, the train tables, the shipping tables, yes, I lost, like I had ways to get to Zurich, more ways to get to Venice. That's interesting. Okay. But I should still have all the stuff in the Caribbean, which is of interest. Looks like if you miss your train, you're hosed. But I think I should have been able to... I think I was going to have to stay overnight to catch that train anyway. Yeah, okay, well... Let's see what happens tomorrow. That's all I can do. Yeah. Okay. Passing another night. Before retiring, I polished our shoes. Polished shoes in the lobby. Spent a while talking to the hotelier to learn what I could. We came away with nothing but tips for doing laundry. Okay. Cool. Woof. What? Fuck. Come on, I already paid. Ah, this is not... I don't like this. And I don't... Wait, where did that money go? I had 100 and something. Huh. Time to start a new run, for sure. Yep, I did the thing that I said might be the thing I would do, which is run out of funds. Okay, well. It's fine. It's fine. It's been an hour and 42 minutes, and I read out loud. It's totally fine. Yeah, I shouldn't have stopped. I should have just stayed on the train and not gotten off at all. And I've learned a lot, like how to get the fuck out of town quickly in the beginning instead of hopping around. Although that's how I made money to a certain extent, so, okay. We are here for these credits. Yeah. Yeah, wiring money might be worth it. Alright. Okay. Monsieur Phileas Fogg returned early from the Reform Club in a newfangled steam carriage beside, helped him down, and the iron-lung, steam-driven horse clattered away. Passepartout, we are going around the world. Very good, monsieur, I murmured dutifully, not believing a word of it. We shall circumnavigate the globe within 80 days. He was quite calm as he proposed this wild scheme. We leave for Paris on the 8:25, in an hour. But of course, I answered, still extremely suspicious. He nodded. Good. Pack an altimeter in my evening jacket. There's not a moment to waste. Let's pack, baby. Let's take that. The shipping timetable proved effective. So did the jacket, honestly. I feel like I did leave with the right loadout. New routes. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. I like that sort of thing. Okay. Am I hard charging for Russia? This time. I don't know. I could try going south. Mechanical horses raced past Piccadilly Circus and Pall Mall faster than a team of thoroughbreds. Even so, the whistle of the 8:25 was blowing as we pulled into the Charing Cross station. We have no tickets, I exclaimed in horror. That does not signify, Monsieur Fogg remarked over his shoulder as he hurried toward the platform. We must not miss the train. I rushed after him, and we leapt aboard just as another train whistle pierced the air. The guard raised his thick eyebrows at us as we settled into a nearby compartment. He held out a hand. Tickets, please. We were in a great hurry, I explained, giving him a beseeching look. We do not have time to buy tickets. 85 pounds, please, I argued with him. I'm going quicker because I read all this already to y'all. There's no game over if you take longer than 8 days. Interesting. Okay, argued with him, or rather began to, but Monsieur Fogg interrupted. Pay him the sum at once, he put in coldly, and remunerate this man for his patience. All right. Give him 100. And added a word or two of advice about allowing a little leniency to gentlemen in their hours of need. Okay, that's a bit much. The guard gave me our tickets and slid the compartment door shut behind him with a pneumatic hiss. I'm at your service. Let's talk about money. Indeed, we can earn a little from selling possessions as we travel. I've made a hefty wager and I do not intend to lose. Okay. I don't know if just having the conversations helps improve your relationship, or if it's all the mustache grooming. London smog gave way to rolling hills and the pastures of the Kentish countryside, still untouched by the hand of technological advancement. Monsieur Fogg read his paper whilst I packed our bags, thrown together in haste and confusion. As afternoon turned inexorably to evening, I discovered my master was one of those gentlemen who broke silence, rarely if at all. The guard were about to submerge, take some people a bit funny, so watch out. Very good, I replied, as though submerging inside a 1,000-ton metal train was quite ordinary for me. If you feel claustrophobic, the guard replied, try running up and down the corridor. I find the exercise helps. With that, he closed the door. Would Monsieur Fogg be claustrophobic? I doubted it. He appeared not to be constrained by mere matters of place and circumstance. An alarm sounded as the fins above the amphitrite's wheels extended with a hydraulic hiss. Night fell, and we plunged past the end of the track into the freezing water of the English Channel. Delicious tea. The amphitrite plowed through the water overnight, splashed onto the wider gauge French tracks at Calais as dawn broke. Do you have a route in mind? I am as yet undecided, my master admitted. The new canal has sped up the shipping routes from Suez to Bombay, though perhaps we could take the Trans-Siberian. This time, let's see, if I said surely not Bombay, and he was like, yeah, we're doing Bombay, and then I said, fuck you. So this time I will say surely not Bombay, and then we'll do Bombay. We'll surely wilt in the scorching heat. Let's buy hat and linen trousers. Travel overland across the Black and Caspian Seas, which is fastest. I believe that is what we shall put to the test. Alright, so we arrive at Paris Gare du Nord just after 1 o'clock. Automaton porters lifted our luggage and then our persons. That's just the best. Onto the platform with long, delicately filigreed iron arms. Just getting plucked up by a robot. Oh, to be a train passenger. Is there romance with the automatons? Okay, so if I'm heading south, I mean, I have not seen any evidence of fucking happening yet. Copenhagen. Don't think I'm gonna do the Berlin shuffle. Huh. Oh, do I not have routes out of Paris? Alright. Early smooch. I did not have routes out of Paris. We had a few hours to spare. I asked Monsieur Fogg if I might enjoy my city before we had to leave. Indeed, and should you learn anything of note, to be sure to relay it. The talk on the streets was of only one thing only, an enormous, elegant oval stadium, constructed upon the green fields of Champ de Mars, and containing the technological marvels, art, amusement parks, and milling crowds of the World's Fair. Okay, so there's interesting information to be gotten here. So I will click through here relatively quickly. Let's talk to the artificer. What is that device? Artificer asked politely. It's a bleeding nuisance is what it is. It's interesting to me that, like, we're in France, but there's a fair amount of, I mean, Yorkshire's in England, it must be. There are hints through this that are very Anglo-centric, in terms of where people are from and what they are saying and their political perspectives. Let's see. What's a grand machine? It's, oh, never mind. She waved my question away. It's a steam engine, all right? Only it doesn't make steam. Will that do? I hate explaining this stuff to laymen. The harshness of her tone was belied by her gentle touch as she unscrewed the arc light's globe of enameled glass and replaced the 2 carbon rods within. She reconnected the supply, and the tin yablokov... Is yabloko an apple? Yeah. Candles connected in series lit up once more. They're miraculous, I breathed. Their hard work is what they are. Miracles indeed. But her mouth softened into a small, proud smile. She looked at her pocket watch, cursed, and hurried off, dropping something as she went. I hurried after her to return it, and she thanked me. My medallion. I'll need that to get my lunch from the canteen. Thank you. I bowed in return, and she giggled. Stop that. You'll make me blush. She rubbed the coin thoughtfully. I was given this for my work in Istanbul, you know. I made a very special automaton. I think it works as a driver now on the route up from Izmir. I think that's right. Let's see. Yablakov was a Russian electrical engineer, it seems. This candle's kind of... okay. Yeah, automatons and metal horses and I think anything steampunk. Let's see. An automaton who can drive. Of course, is that so strange? Let's see. I looked about me once more. Maybe people don't bow to artificers very often. Let's learn about airships again. That's interesting info. Past a booth with a husband and wife selling panoramic hot air balloon rides. Hangar was crowded with airships and flying vehicles of all shapes and sizes, attended by sharp-eyed crews from all over the world, and my eye was immediately caught by... the African-made rigid metal balloon of hammered copper and tin, called a shaba mele. You're lucky, friend, the smiling Tutsi mechanic waved at me with the spanner still in her fist. This is the first shaba mele to be seen in Europe. She tucked her spanner back into her belt and added sadly, What terrible weather you suffer here. It's not even properly winter yet, I retorted, a little stung. I'd always thought October to be the most delightful time to experience Paris. It gets worse? She shivered and tucked her hands into her pockets. You poor creatures. How fast did the shaba mele go? I asked. Faster than a Gaelic, but a bit slower than the new Persian bayandors, she replied promptly. You can take shaba mele from Khartoum all the way south to the Cape. Perhaps one day soon, Monsieur Fogg and I would find ourselves flying in such a craft. I returned to the exposition center, my thoughts turning with clouds and engine rotors. Crowds of tourists jostled and heaved past, their eyes wide with wonder. Avenue of Nations. So it's an Avenue of Nations. Took a stroll down Avenue of Nations, lined with buildings in the styles of the nations of the world and manned by foreign delegates in national dress, although the newly formed German Empire was a conspicuous absentee. Yeah, I'll go for that. In the city it had so recently conquered, the Austro-Hungarian delegation was being harangued by an artificer. The Zulu Federation had built a replica village and brought a delegation of 400 diplomats and warriors, which was concerning the French soldiers guarding the exposition somewhat. Above the display was a fine ferrotype of their great emperor, Seschuyo, in his place in Olundi. One of the young impy warriors dropped his fierce look, a little wooden automaton shaped like that's like one of the warriors, and winked brightly at a passing child who erupted into shy giggles. One of his fellow soldiers caught me looking and tilted his spear in my direction with a glare. I turned away hurriedly. My feet were tiring and the hour was growing late. I returned to Monsieur Fogg, who was eating a meal of plain boiled beef à l'anglaise. Did you enjoy the exposition? Let's see, as though I had been visiting an aged great-aunt, having preferred hearty meal. having preferred a hearty meal or an English newspaper to all the wonders the modern world had to offer. We are unspeakably lucky to live in such an age of invention, I declared. It will most certainly make it easier to win my wager, Monsieur Fogg replied mildly. I dreamt that night of mechanical wonders and automatons with beautifully enameled faces, knowing little of the strange inventions and stranger people I would soon encounter in my journey around the world. I do want to find some romance. Alright. So, let's take a look at what's in my bag, since I already bought shit. Copenhagen, Warsaw, Budapest. Copenhagen's way up there. There's Warsaw. Will I be embarrassed if I can't find... There we go. Okay. Okay. So I can get to Budapest pretty easily. And I think that's the only thing I would sell. Let's see when I want to. It's for in 2 days. Okay. Leaves tomorrow at 6. Yeah, that Avenue of Nations must have been super problematic originally. I'll book a hotel for the night. We'll be comfortable here, but traveling overnight will be more efficient. Where possible. We cannot travel where it's not possible, certainly, he replied. Still, the sounds of the Hotel Ritz were most enjoyable. I forgot that this close in you're still supposed to have just one piece of luggage. Boarding the Orient Express was an altogether calmer affair than our race through London had been. Mechanical porters loaded us in through the windows. What? Then snapped them shut with a delicate click. Huh. The train was very beautiful, a jewel of both European design and European diplomacy, with a Compagnie Internationale de Wagon Lit, having persuaded several envious empires to be linked together by the train line. It was uniquely placed to sweep us across Europe. It was one of the many modern developments that had led to Monsieur Fogg's wager, of course, and so it was no coincidence that we should be aboard. This feels like it's telling me I'm taking the path that the book did. Let's converse. Can I help you at all, monsieur? I'm the guard on this train. Let's talk about Munich. The rumors one can travel in a private car from Munich to Vienna, but the journey is a tiring one. Let's talk about... let's talk about Vienna. The Austro-Hungarian Empire has been growing in strength. But now listen, have you been to Bordeaux? I have not. Ah, a shame. I wanted to ask if it was a nice spot for a honeymoon. Aw. Is it possible to go from Vienna to Venice? I believe so. One can travel by private car. Oh. That's what they told me in the beginning. Let's talk about Rome. I believe so. One can travel by public carriage. Okay. My master wished to be undisturbed, so as we left Paris, I left him and went to explore the train. There was a delightful dining car and an observation deck formed by the replacement of an entire compartment with an open glass cube. I stopped there, watched the scenery pass by. I attended to the dining car and found a few groups of people talking quietly. I joined a pair of young Parisian ladies who were toasting their adventure away from France, and they were going to Vienna to hear a concert by the great steam orchestra there. I only hope we'll be allowed to leave, one confided. Because of your great beauty? I inquired, and the girl blushed. Her companion frowned at me. You're a valet, monsieur, she pointed out. You do not have the standing required for such a remark. Go to hell. I am first and foremost a Frenchman, I rejoined with a smile. The girl shook her head. And above that, a man, she replied with a sigh. Come, Isabel. Woof. Well, all right. She stood, and her friend, reluctantly, I think, left with her. I finished my cognac and then returned to Monsieur Fogg, who, to my surprise, looked up from his paper at me. What did you learn? He inquired. I told him of the dining car, and he looked smartly aside. Whoops. Clearly unimpressed. We arrived in Munich a few hours later. I got to up my flirting game, and also my not being creepy game. Calling me the flamboyant type. Okay, so it's late. Departs before 5. The Franco-Prussian War had concluded but a year previously. Thus, my French accent was a disadvantage during our short time in Munich. The concierge of our hotel was most suspicious when I approached the desk. I was not immune to a certain bitterness, though I knew it to be futile. France had been defeated, and the world had turned once over since. Still, to avoid any untowardness, I affected a Viennese accent for the duration of our stay. Monsieur Fogg asked if I had developed a head cold, but otherwise refrained from comment, as I rolled several consonants in the back of my throat as practice. All right. I feel like I should depart. Well, or I could mark it. Just kidding. I'm gonna mark it. European train timetable. Oh, that's a good one. Because I can sell that. Okay. Cool. Now... Oh, right. Just got a thing of routes. I'm gonna get a whole lot of routes. Still don't have a Vienna to Budapest route. A bothersome journey. For inexplicable reasons, there was no way to reboard the Orient Express at Munich. Something strange to do with customs laws. Retribution for unpaid fees. It seemed the Express charged countries for the privilege of being connected, rather than the other way around. We ended up cramming ourselves into a steam-powered car. Let's talk... There really might not be a path there. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk Vienna to Warsaw. So you can get to Ekaterinburg from Astrakhan aboard the freight train. Let's talk Warsaw to Budapest. Some buyers will pay well for geometric equipment from Budapest. This does not solve what I want to be doing. Talk more about Budapest. Some buyers will pay well for magnifying glasses from Budapest. It was a pleasant enough ride, and our driver, one Michael Hertz, regaled us with stories of his time on the Indian subcontinent. It seemed he had been employed to haul palanquins along the Grand Trunk Road connecting Kabul and Agra. Before Agra wandered away, there's the city that disappeared. And I My brain said, they can't actually mean that the city wandered away. I demanded to know what he meant, but he merely grinned mysteriously and said, ah, the stories I could tell. As we arrived, the driver put out his hand to shake. I'll be driving on to Budapest soon, if you want. There we go. I wonder if Agra is not where it should be on the map. Let's just go to Budapest. Not risk it. Private car. We hired our friend Mikhail for the journey onward from Vienna to Budapest. The road followed the rail tracks for much of the way, but we saw no trains as we chuffed along. Ah, close shave. Superb. What city doesn't feel the need to stretch his legs every now and then? We arrived in the evening without incident. Some of our possessions would definitely sell here. Well, let's figure out where we're going next. Apparently, it wants me to go to Athens. Multiple books about traveling cities? It's pretty cool. Okay. So... let's hotel. A dusty-jacketed Englishman at our hotel recommended a restaurant called Clemens to Monsieur Fogg. The Magyars make an excellent broth, he promised. Ominous words indeed. I had never really been one for advice from dusty-jacketed fellows or broth. Broth. Broth is, in my humble opinion, merely an incomplete consommé, at best an inferior bouillon. Monsieur Fogg was set on the matter, however. Oh no, okay, I concealed my trepidation, could not argue. I was forced to cause a minor accident with his dress. I do want to improve my relationship with him, so I'm going to conceal my trepidation with professionalism. We settled to dinner at Clemens, where our soup arrived in a gleaming silver tureen. My master, a man of impeccably high standards, even remarked upon the turene's flawless polish, at which point it exploded, splattering myself, Monsieur Fogg, an extremely bewildered waiter in, admittedly delicious, salmon broth. A fellow diner had been struck by the edge of the tureen lid and was bleeding from the temple. What the fuck? I rushed to his aid, pressing a napkin to his head while my master looked on, unperturbed. The head chef had, by this time, emerged from the kitchen. He pointed towards the wall and began a voluble rant which needed little translation. The broth had splattered the ivory wall in the intricately curved shape of a lily, unmistakably the symbol of the Artificers' Guild. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. There's intrigue. I examined the ruined tureen. Right at the bottom was a tiny automaton, the shape and size of a scarab beetle. It was rather clogged with soup and a bit dented, but its metal legs were still kicking. Clearly, it was responsible for the symbolically exploding soup. I pocketed it swiftly, while everyone's attention was otherwise occupied. It had the same lily etched on its hammered thin wings. I looked around at the chaos caused by a single bowl of exploding soup. What did you do to the guild? The guild's a collection of repairmen and designers. I've never seen such a mess. What did you do to the guild? Our waiter sighed. They were banned by the emperor, so we could make our own imperial automata outside of their control. The guild is growing more vocal in its objections. Personally, I thought that the emperor was a fool. The guild was growing heavy-handed. Such matters smacked of European profligacy. I don't think I know what that word means, although I have read it before. I'm gonna call... Oh god. I hate nationalism, and I hate bombs. This is bad. There are no good options. I'm gonna call the Emperor a fool. The guild was more powerful than any empire, and certainly more widespread. It was only a matter of time before the guild brought Austro-Hungary to the negotiating table, or else its knees. We're going to stay for the main course, but did not enjoy it. The incident had rather shaken my confidence, and I could see even my master was concerned. How many more exploding broths could our precarious journey survive? What the fuck? Alright, so I want to sell... I want to check in the market, sell some stuff. Cool. Okay, let's sell that. Sell that. Absinthe. We're not going to Moscow. Oh, heavy-duty compass that can point true north even in thickest weather. I don't know how many more cars we're going to be in. Neck cushion for sleeping in the seats of an airship. Clear vodka. And all of these are 2 space items. That's annoying. Okay, and then... Actually, I should maybe plan my trip before I do this shit. Can I not stop? Oh, interesting. Okay, so my way forward is on a train. So it's Orient Express. So, whoops, I'm gonna sell that back. And instead, take the magnetic compass. And that's all that fits. Alright. So, since I have the rest of the day, and I didn't think to do banking, took a few hours to explore. Oh, no particular story pops up. Okay. With what remained of the day, I afforded my master every service, providing him with fresh clothing. I've learned my lesson. I'm just gonna do short legs of trips. Today we turned south. The Orient Express Company ran a spur line from Budapest that swept down the length of Europe to Athens. It originally stopped midway at Belgrade, but since that city's almost total destruction, since we had no reason to stop in Middle Europe anyway, since that city's almost total destruction in the last confrontation between the Austro-Hungarians and the Ottomans, the train now went straight through. Such destruction. It was to be hoped, taught the powers that be a lesson about tolerance. Damn. Greetings, Madame Guard. Show me your ticket first, please. Yes, monsieur, how can I help? Let's talk about Athens. You mentioned trains. I've been told you can get to Minsk from St. Petersburg aboard the St. Petersburg Express, but the journey is a tiring one. Let's talk about Athens to Dubai. I've heard the most efficient way to go to Dubai from here is to go via Beirut. Interesting. Okay. How about Athens to Alexandria? Let's just say you can pick up bolts of pure silk in Alexandria and you can sell for profit in the wandering city of Agra. Despite knowing to expect it, I could not help but gasp as we swept through the empty husk of Belgrade. It seemed home only to ghosts. Trees and bushes grew from the tall buildings and through empty window frames, but we did not spy a single human being. Quite what had happened, no one knew. The roads, houses, and viaducts were all still standing. The gas lamps still burned, but not a single voice cried out, and not a door or shutter moved. I asked Monsieur Fogg his thoughts, and he sighed. I fear that our age is seeing a great experimentation in warfare, much as in every other walk of life. I hope you're wrong. Yet, I'm not, he replied, but at least the trains move faster. His answer seemed to me as bleak as Belgrade itself, but as the Orient Express left it behind, it carried us towards a long evening of gentle wines and candlelight, which I could barely stomach. Well, let's talk about health. I'm in roaring health, but we must make haste. How's our progress? Day 6. We arrived at Thessaloniki station in northern Greece in the morning. We disembarked without delay. Alright. Ooh, sells for some pounds. Canadian? Am I going to end up in Canada? I'm not sure that I will. Leather gloves. I'm tempted by this traveling cloak. It's not expensive. Now that I have a third suitcase. Let's do that. New routes. Well, we can get all the way the fuck across Canada. Not sure that's the way to go. So, I do kind of want to go to Izmir. I want to see that car, or that automaton, really. No, I don't think I will make that car leave early for that amount of money. I'm being a little more frugal this time around. So, if I have to stay for a day, let's see, you have additional funds. I am a gentleman. They would extend me credit if required. But do you suppose I put my entire fortune in a carpet bag under your supervision? I did not answer. I regarded... let's look at the bank this time. It was a small affair, but efficiently looked after, and we were quickly seen to. You wish to withdraw funds, we were told. I warn you, it may take some time. Let's do 700 tomorrow. I'll have to communicate with London first, of course. I should have a reply tomorrow. Cool. Let's explore. Ah. Beautiful. The people of the city are crazy. They go out in the evenings to tear down what remains of their city wall. I've never seen such a thing. Oh, they are unpaid laborers for their state. Granted, it's not as if the walls are keeping anything out. They're unpaid labor for the state. If this were France, we'd be protesting. We'd be chanting and singing songs of defiance. but these people work, and worse yet, they enjoy their servitude. I stopped a young woman and asked what they were doing, but she only laughed in my face. You may not know our city now, she replied, not in the least bit answering my question, but soon we will encompass the entirety of northern Greece. A mighty prize, I agreed in earnest, and she nodded wildly before raising the sledgehammer she had brought along for the occasion. She set about the ancient walls once more, and I scurried away lest I lose my hat from a piece of flying stone. Fog looking over my fucking shoulder, disappointed. Okay. By boat tomorrow. That's exciting. As night fell, I spent a few hours walking around and succeeded only in having my pocket picked to the tune of 26 pounds. Ah, hell. Let's depart. Aww. Hire extra space, 6 pounds for 80 days? Okay. Baking sunshine and mild seas. This is like a wearisome journey. The traveling cloak should be of some assistance. Glad I opted for that cloak. Okay, I will probably wrap up relatively soon. Let's see, we boarded the daily ferry across the Aegean Sea, and then stayed out on the deck enjoying the sunshine, getting some much-needed rest. Let's see. Let's talk about Izmir. The Ottoman... I forgot to go to the bank. Son of a bitch. Didn't even cross my mind. The Ottoman inventor Hayyan al-Safa died in Izmir. Did you discover anything in the paper about Antalya? My aunt once took the merchant trader Nefertiti from Antalya to Beirut. Well, we're quite comfortable, except for that $700 I left back in the other place. Oh, shit, that's fine. It's whatever. Other passengers milled about, talking loudly and drinking ouzo chilled by chips of ice carved from blocks in the hold of the ship. The boat had the air of a market cafe or the gathered crowd before a concert. Clearly, sunshine is good for the soul. Otherwise, I spent my time in conversation, hoping to gather information for our next journey, and I picked up from a remarkably energetic Persian gentleman that a lost city stands in the desert between Beirut and Baghdad. So, let me pause so the clock stops, and let me talk a little bit about the problem with reading games is that I don't get to talk about other things very much while reading. So let's talk a little bit about future-proof stuff before I wrap up. This month is a podcast recording month for us. We do podcasts every other month. We do newsletters in the month in between. So over on futureproofgames.com, you can grab our podcast, which is the Future-Proof Podcast. You can find it in your player of choice. It's a short podcast. It's usually about 15 minutes. And, we talk about things we're doing and sort of gab on about that a little bit. Sometimes it can get a little technical, which is fun. We don't do that in the newsletter, generally. We have been working on Exploit Zero Day, which is free to play. It is a cyberpunk game in which you are playing a hacktivist, hacking for social justice, something like that, hopefully. Sort of fighting against corporate overreach and government misconduct through, via police and in other ways. So we've been adding some features, doing some bug fixes, writing story. So that's fun. There's a free season of story for you to play, as well as generally the ability to make puzzles, which are systems that you're hacking, and play other people's, which can include story around them. So exploitzeroday.com, all one word. I am playing in a paranormal spy thriller tabletop RPG on Twitch on Other Docs channels Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is a ton of fun. I feel like all the other players are some real heavy hitters in terms of one, streaming games, and two, spy thrillers, which which I am less knowledgeable about, but having a blast. So we had our first online session last week. So now is a good time to jump in. We're sort of heading into the main investigation and plot. Conflict is really taking off this upcoming week. So that is very fun and very cool. And then I don't think there's anything else majorly on my list. So I'll leave that there. As far as news goes, you can find all of our stuff over at futureproofgames.com. Greg will be streaming in 2 weeks. I don't know that they have picked their next game. I don't think so. But Greg, you can post if you did. But the schedule for that will be on our site when Greg picks a game and when I pick a next one. And I am always open to recommendations for games to play. I love this sort of thing, whether it is voiced or not. I could actually, my last game was unvoiced as well, so I could maybe use a little bit of a break from that. But anyway, love recommendations. You can send them to us on Twitter. You can send them to me on Mastodon. And it has been a delight streaming for y'all this afternoon. So I'll call it there and hope y'all have a good one. Thanks for hanging out.